하나, 둘, 셋! 안녕! Today's video will be about Konglish, and this is the combination of Korean and English words. So some of these words may have certain English words in them or might be entirely new words, but I'll be explaining them, but they refer to the same thing. Some words are shortened versions of English words. Aircon is for air conditioner, so they took air and conditioner, but just the con part, and people will call the air conditioner aircon. So if I say, can you turn the AC on, they'll say aircon 좀 켜줘. And for the word 리모컨, it's for remote control, and it works the same way as aircon. And in Korea, you don't fully say apartments, you say 아파트. So you'll say, 여기 아파트 진짜 많다, and it means, there's a lot of apartments around here. And there's the word 핫도그 in Korean, and you'll recognize it to mean hot dog, but it might be confusing. But in Korea, when you say 핫도그, you're actually referring to corn dog, not the hot dogs with in the buns. So there's a little bit of a difference there. For units, people say centi for centimeters instead of pronouncing the T. For example, there's a very famous Korean singer called 10cm, and that's a stage name, and it's just written out as 10 cm for 10 centimeters. But rather than saying 10cm, people say 10cm. For percent, if I want to say 50%, it's 50%. So 50 is 50, and pro is used for the percent. There's also words that people will use that are English words, or it actually comes from a brand. For example, 샤프 refers to mechanical pencil, and 샤프, the way it sounds, it just means sharp, but it's actually, the name comes from the brand, and Korean people use that brand to start referring to all these mechanical pencils. There's also the stapler, which Korean people call 호치키스, and this comes from a brand for staplers. There's also scotch tape, and it's referring to the brand Scotch tape that Americans will just call tape, but in Korean people refer to it as scotch tape. In Korea, when you're offering or asking someone what they want to drink, and if it's going to be a soda, they'll say 사이다 콜라, and 사이다 is actually referring to Sprite, but there's a brand in Korea that made 칠성 사이다, and this is the equivalent of a Sprite in America. So people just gradually used it more and applied to Sprite now. So when you ask someone for a drink, you'll ask 사이다, and it'll mean Sprite. There are also some words that contain English words, but they won't have the exact translation to it in English. The first one is 핸드폰, and this is referring to a cell phone or a mobile phone. But 핸드폰 hand is literally just the Korean pronunciation of hand, and 폰 is phone. Because you're holding your phone in your hand, it gradually just became 핸드폰. Next is 서비스, and you might recognize it because the English word is service, but it doesn't make sense for the Korean meaning for it. 서비스 refers to food that they give you in restaurants that's on the house. And just to make a difference, this isn't 반찬, which is side dishes, which are also free, but those will always come out with any meal. 서비스 is something that you didn't order, but the owner of the house or owner of the restaurant will just give it to you. Next is the word CF, and this is the letters C and F. And it stands for commercial film, which basically refers to commercials. And you'll hear actors or maybe some K-pop idols saying 나 CF 찍었어, and this means that they filmed a commercial. But in Korea, you'll mostly just say CF or 광고, which also means commercials. And you don't really say commercial films in America, you'll just say, that's a commercial. Next is the word 크레파스, and this is actually the combination of two words for crayons and pastels, and they took the first two, cray and passe from pastels to form 크레파스, which is just a coloring pencil. For convertibles, people call it open car because obviously the roof of the car will open, and car is car. There's also the word pass, and this word actually comes, or the original word comes from Germany, and it was used there to refer to like medical ointment. But in Korea, if you say pass, they're talking about like the pain relief patches that you'll put on wherever it hurts. Next is the word meeting, and the direct English word is meeting for like when you're meeting people, but gradually the meaning in Korea meeting became blind dates. So maybe you'll say 주말에 미팅 있어. It's not saying I have a meeting with like a company meeting, but you're saying I have a blind date this weekend. For the word one piece, it means dress, and it's for like one-piece dresses, two-piece dresses. But in America, if you go up to someone and say, "Oh, I like your one piece," like they probably won't understand it unless they say, "I like your dress." So in Korea, if you're referring to someone's dress, you'll just say one piece. The word running machine is used in Korea for a treadmill. So here the translation became entirely different. Rather than saying treadmill or like finding a different word for it, it became running machine, which is a running machine. And then in a car, what American people would call a rearview mirror, people call it 백미러. And just to split it up, back is back and mirror is mirror. So 백미러 is referring to that rearview mirror that lets you see the back. Lastly is the word solo, and this is the English word for it is solo, which just means alone, or maybe you're singing solo. But in Korea, solo is referring to someone who's single, like the relationship status is single. And you'll actually see this in the show named 솔로지옥, which is like a TV program going on right now. And the translation for that is Singles Inferno. So when you're referring to someone who's single, you'll say, oh, 솔로야. That's all for today. Maybe some of these words you didn't even know you were using were Konglish, or maybe some of these are new ones. And if you're learning Korean, these can be a bit tricky because the meanings can be slightly different or can just be an entirely new English word that doesn't actually exist. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in my next one. 안녕. 하나, 둘, 셋.